Hey besties, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. It's your girl Jen, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm just a regular old college student at Cal State Dominguez, but if you're not new here, welcome back to the chaos. It is officially February 7th, and I won't lie, the only reason I have not uploaded this video yet is because this last book that I read of my TBR for January took me too long to read. I will say it is an ARC, so I didn't have I only had the physical copy, and I didn't have like an e-reader version or like an Audible version or audiobook version like I usually would listen to speed things along. But for this one, it was like plain old fashioned, like had to crack that book out, had to read it, had to open those pages and flip them and blah blah blah. And honestly, that tied with the lack of interest I had to read this book was like just not it. So first off, let's just start with that book so we can get it out of the way because the rest of these books are actually top fucking tier. That book was Midnight on the Celestial. It is a debut novel by this author right up here. It's a beautiful book. I will say I don't have any of these books on me because they're currently in storage. Again, girl's a college student, so I don't have a lot of space to just like have a whole library in my room. So every time I read a book, they just goes in a box, or all of my books rather are just in boxes to begin with. But Midnight on the Celestial, I want to say, yeah, she's sitting at a 3-star, like 3 even. I didn't want to be mean and give it a 2.75 because it wasn't that bad. I was just like, it was okay, especially for a debut author, for a debut novel. Like, I have to give it grace. It wasn't maybe the book for me. And honestly, I feel like maybe the demographic of audience, not the demographic, but like the audience age that it was trying to reach possibly wasn't me. I feel like if I was younger, maybe 12 to 14, maybe 16, I could have like maybe related to it a little bit more because my brain is not constantly thinking of like, why are we doing this, right? So anyways, this follows the story of a girl who lives in a world where certain people who have magic tends to show like these features at a very young age, like these magical features of like being able to do stuff. And by the time they turn 18, they go through these trials to see if they are a good fit for society. And so what happens if you fail these trials, you're given two options. One, you can either take this drought, this tonic to like completely get rid of your magic, or you can go on the Celestial, which is like this like Titanic cruise ship type of situation, and work there for hopefully under 4 years so that you can get your second trial and be able to, take it again, pass, and, live society as a regular person. If you do feel that second time, though, you do take the drought, the draught, the tonic, whatever you want to call it, the juice, I guess, to like get rid of your magic. It was like really interesting on paper because there's so much like mystery and like crazy things going on the celestial at night that like kind of gets you to be curious about like what's going on. All these things are going on, all of these like serious crazy events are happening, people are dying, like the cruise ship just kind of turns into a monster at night. Like you have like actual like monstrous creatures like chasing the peoples, and so the both the staff and the what do you call it, the patrons are like advised to stay in their rooms at night. And again, everything's going cool. We're like following this girl. She's like taking her servitude, I guess, like pretty well. She's doing what she can, right? But then like at the very end, this is like not necessarily minor spoilers, but like I just want to give you guys context before like the weird stuff happens. So like she does get her retrial, but like something happens again that she faced in the first trial, and she's not sure if what she's seeing is like accurate or if it's like an illusion. But like her friends are like, hey, this is going on, this is real, people are dying around you, like we gotta get the hell out of here. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting. So people are actually dying right now, we're trying to get to safety and everything. So that's like an interesting like twist, I guess. And so they get off the ship, they go back to this girl's the main character's like house manor, and apparently all of a sudden one of her family members that she's really close to turns out to like be a menace to society and really was the main antagonist all along. This person has like raised, basically not raised, but like basically turned a whole bunch of people that have this magic into like mindless zombies. They're like following this person's every will. It's like it went from like really interesting mystery, like what's going on with the ship, to we're fighting for our lives, trying to start a revolution. And it was just such a like twist in the story, twist of the narrative, the plot, whatever you want to call it, for me to be like, you realize we only have like maybe less than 100 pages in the book, like why, what's going on? And at the very end, my biggest gripe in this book is that I feel like the author maybe was having a hard time trying to wrap this up because they wanted to make this book a standalone, that a very significant situation happens at the very end, and on the last page there's a paragraph of the main character being like, I'm gonna leave this person to the council, I don't want anything to do with it, I'm not gonna take their life or do anything. Like, I'm not even gonna let that decision up to me. It's gonna be up to them. And then all of a sudden it's 1 year later, and everything was just like wrapped up nicely. It was like, oh yeah, me and Bestie already took care of this situation. Bestie and that girlie over there already took care of that situation. And so everything was sunshine and rainbows. Like, we literally got this. Like, revolutionary stuff is done and over with. And I'm like, okay, like, that was a book. That was indeed a book. It took me way too long to read. I want to say this book in total, because I was listening to other books and like reading books at work and blah blah blah, like on the Kindle reader. I just I couldn't get into it, is what I want to say. So that is Midnight on the Celestial. It wasn't necessarily like the worst book of any means. I do still recommend going to read it because, this author definitely, like, deserves the grace, deserves like all the praise, because she wrote a whole freaking book, Libra, a whole 336-page book. Go fucking read it and make your own decision. That's just my opinion. Reading is subjective, and that's all I'm gonna say. I want to get this beautiful series up and out of the way, because she did not up out of the way, but like, I want to give her all of the grace and regality and just the splendor that she deserves. For my birthday month, your girl's officially 23 now. Crazy as hell to like think about, but I wanted to read the Throne of Glass series because I did not get my reread last year. I feel like this series, as I've said before, is like one of my god tier. I have like this urge to just read the series every year. And so I did. And I won't lie, I listened to, I want to say, a solid 80% of this book on audio. And I really, really, really wish we had a graphic audio full cast of this book, of this whole series, because I don't know, there's certain characters where it's like their voices and their dialogue are described a very specific way. And I'm like, I want to hear this growling, grovelly, raspy voice in my brain. Like, why can't, like, it's fine. Like, obviously the FMC, the narrator for the whole entire book, did an amazing job. Obviously, if you've listened to the Throne of Glass series via audio, like, you just know. But like, I'm so excited for graphic audio to start releasing their stuff, and I get it. The first book, Throne of Glass, is going to be released, I think, this year. I want to say like in March or April. But like, I really wish they would have just said, fuck ACOTAR, we can do that later. And like, obviously go within the Throne of Glass series and like, get that out of the way first before going into the ACOTAR series and doing the graphic audio for that. But honestly, I'm gonna stop yapping and like move the fuck on, because so if you don't know, if you haven't read Throne of Glass, what are you doing? Are you living under a rock? I absolutely love the series, as I've mentioned before. We are following, well, let me step back for a second. So this author, not Cassandra Clare. Sorry, Cassie Clare, you are not indeed her. SJM, Sarah J. Maas. She wrote this book in college for an assignment for a class, and just like went with it and made an entire series about it. That's fucking insane. But she basically was thinking, like, while she was writing the book, what if Cinderella was an assassin? And if that hasn't already gotten you hooked, what if Cinderella started her entire fucking journey with this series? If you didn't read the prequel first, of course, you're starting in the Throne of Glass, and you're starting in the salt mines of Enderveer as a slave for an entire year. We were like dropped in the middle of this slave camp. You're like being whipped for something, and all of a sudden, these freaking like pompous like princes and his guard comes up and is like, "Hey, we're gonna offer you a deal for freedom if you happen to go through these like regular like Hunger Games style, not really trials, to become my father's champion for a year, or is it a year or 4 years? I forget. For a specific amount of time, in exchange for your freedom." And she's like, "Fuck it, yeah, I'm down." But the thing is, though, the entire first book, you're kind of like not really knowing exactly. You're like feeling it out. You're like, where are we gonna go with this series? I'm kind of digging it so far, but like also this is 8 books long. So like, where are we gonna go from here? It picks up after Crown of Midnight, because in the Crown of Midnight, you're like finding more mysterious things going on. You're more underground, finding all of these like tombs, trying to find these riddles out and what the hell have you. But after that, in Heir of Fire, shit really picks up. And I just want to say, for the girlies who still aren't hooked, if you include the prequel first, the first 4 books, so 0.5, 1, 2, and 3, she goes through 4 men in the first 4 books before she actually finds her man. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, could never be me. I am still looking for my one, and that's okay, because I'm busy as hell and blah 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 blah. But like, the yearning, the anguish for all of the characters, like almost every character gets an HEA, almost every character gets a partner, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And so yeah, I still think about it to this day. I'm still like, I was listening and like crying in my car when I'm listening to the audio version of all these books, and It was a lot. I won't lie. I was in my feels for like most of the month, but hey, I did it to myself and I wanted it to happen. And so here we are, right? So obviously, I can't even fucking say 5 fucking stars, like literally infinity stars, SJM. I can't even say you've done it again because, like, obviously you published this book already. Like, the series already. Like, I've just read it so many times. And of course, I love it. And so, yeah, if you haven't already understood, you should go fucking read it if you haven't read it yet. And I will gag about the series until I die. And so yeah, moving the fuck on. After that, or kind of during my book club, because I'm a part of a book club now, hopefully it doesn't crash and burn like the last one where we just like forgot that we had books to read and we forgot to talk about them in person. But my book club decided that this month they wanted to read Direbound. They didn't know that Fury Bound comes out this year in like June or July. So we're at the end of Direbound. They were like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, what do you mean the next book doesn't come out until June or July? Like, whatever the heck. Like, I need it now." I don't have that personal opinion, but like, you know what I'm saying. So Direbound is very, 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 very similar to Fourth Wing, except instead of dragons, you have wolves. I want to say you have magic powers in this book, but I really don't know. But it's tied to the wolves. It's kind of very similar to like the griffins in Fourth Wing. I think they come in Onyx Storm, not Onyx Storm. Iron Flame. There we go. And so we're essentially following this girl. I honestly forget what the hell she looks like. It doesn't really matter. But she's living in the slums in this city, and she has this partner. I just want to say, whenever a fantasy series, especially romantasy, introduces the character already involved with a partner, I already know that partner's not going to be with her at the end of the book. I'm just going to say I've been right so far, and I'm still right now. Anyway, so she has a partner. His name is Leo, I want to say, and she's like this underground fighter. She's like really, really awesome, just super badass, like very stereotypically like awesome and badassery. Like, I can fight any person, I can put any man, no matter how big he is, on his ass. I prefer to like toy with my prey like a cat. That's why my name is Kitty Cat. Blah blah blah. Out in these streets, if you know what I'm saying. And just yeah, so she's taking part of these fights in the rings to raise money for her mom, who is very mentally unstable, disabled, and unwell. She has like these very weird like episodic outbursts where she doesn't know where she is, she doesn't know who she is, she blah blah blah. It's a whole thing. She also has a younger sister, and in the beginning of this book, her sister ends up going missing by what they call the Nabbers. We couldn't have come up with blah, blah, blah. We couldn't have come up with any other name for these fucking people. Not the Nabbers, bro. Anyway, very, very like, I don't know, very immature writing on my part, on in my opinion, on her part, the author, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going. But what the fuck else? So something happens and her sister ends up going missing by the Nabbers, and so the girl, I forget her name, I want to say it's Marin, there we go. She ends up enlisting in the King's army and wants to be a soldier so that she can help find her sister. She doesn't want to be part of with the bonded because she doesn't want a direwolf for whatever the fuck reason that you find out later. She ends up accidentally getting the wolf ends up picking her on purpose, but like she ends up getting bonded to this direwolf called, I forgot, but it starts with an S. I'll have it up here somewhere. But yeah, she ends up getting bonded to a wolf, and she really doesn't like the situation. She's like, "This is not what I wanted. I have no choice but to like, participate in the war now, and not the war, but like the king's army. And if I don't, then I die. Blah blah blah. I'm also going to be discriminated against because I'm not part of the fucking elite, high class society. So like, I'm really not trying to be here, but like, here the fuck I am." She also very reminiscent to what's his name? Not Resand. Violet and Xaden, there we go. Very reminiscent of Xaden's character, where it's like the dark, broody, like he's the captain. He's also her teacher for her squad. He's like very much an asshole. He hates her. She hates him, blah, blah, blah. Very much like dislike to love. I don't like the term enemies to lovers because lately romantasy authors have not been doing it correctly. They're like, "Oh my god, I hate you, like you're such an asshole, but like also you're so cute," but blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know. There are certain books and certain authors that can do enemies to lovers very fucking well. Hello SJM, I'm looking right the fuck at you. But other authors, maybe they're not doing it well, so I just prefer to say dislike to love because I can get around that where he's like, "Oh, I don't like this guy because he's an asshole," but also like he's kind of cute. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, stuff happens, right? And so at the end of this book, there is a twist. There is some situations that I saw coming a mile a fucking way. If you've read at least 5 different fantasy novels, fantasy series, you kind of know how the fantasy romantasy is going to go. And so of course, by this point, I'm already calling shit out on the pages. You know what I'm saying? Like that build up, those little breadcrumbs. I'm like, yeah, obviously it's going to happen. And so at the very end, something happens where we find out who the FMC really is. Some other stuff happens, and I kind of forgot the ending. I'm not gonna lie, but I do know that it kind of ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Somewhat, if I'm gonna say. But yeah, not super crazy. Like I gave it like a 3.75 star, almost 4 star. Like there was a couple of things that I'm just like, this is just like another one, another romantasy read. Like I'm just like they're kind of copy and paste at this point already. But moving on, I needed a break from the romantasy, and so it was time to pick up a filler book. A couple videos ago, this was my slightly tipsy, don't know how to fucking film, let's go to a bookstore vlog because your girl can't film vlogs for shit. But anyway, I picked up The Dare by Harley Laroux. I've mentioned this before. I have read the Souls trilogy by Harley Laroux. Loved it. Goofy fun time. Not the best thing that's ever read, but like, it did its fucking job, right? So The Dare is a novella that is literally 150 pages or less. Starts at a Halloween party and just goes to Smutland. Like that's literally fucking it. We're following a girl, and this is also the prequel, by the way. This is supposed to like reel you in. You know what I'm saying? For those first two books that are 550 pages each, 1,000 pages is fucking crazy, and it's fully smut. Like I want to say it's like 70% smut, hardcore BDSM, polyamory, plus like 20% plot, 30% plot, but like that 30%. They do its job. I'm not gonna lie. We're following a girl. I forget her fucking name at this point. She's like this popular girl. At least she was in high school, but at this point, she's like kind of in college almost. She's like getting her, or no, she's not. But like she's post grad. She's trying to like post graduation high school. She's like trying to go to college. And no, I'm so sorry. She did all that shit already. She's like maybe early 20s, mid 20s. She's already basically like she's on her way to get like an actual career. It doesn't fucking matter. She ends up like going to a Halloween party hosted by her high school besties, and so she ends up finding this guy there at the party that she used to bully the fuck out of. Like, hello, she's over here bullying the outcast. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of get to that point. She ends up playing beer pong with this guy, but with a twist. So they did it on dares. Truth or Dare, basically, which is hello, the name of the book, right? And so at the very end, she ends up losing the dare. And she takes the dare in exchange for, and the dare is, I can't fucking speak at this point to be honest, but the dare is to basically become this guy's slave for the rest of the night. It gets better. Okay, it gets better. His first act of mastery duty is to have her go get a beer, crawling on her hands and knees into the kitchen, his house party, okay? Into the kitchen where all these fucking people are dancing and doing stupid shit and falling over and blah, 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 and bring it back to him with the beer in her mouth. And of course, her being the bratty bitch that she is, she's like, no, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, bet dad, like, I will punish you, I got it. Like, it's very, very flirty. It's very, like, she's like, oh my god, why am I feeling like this? Like, ew, of course I wouldn't, but, like, obviously, like, I have to just go along with it. Her bestie's like, girl, are you sure? You don't have to. Like, I know you really want to, but, like, you don't have to if you don't want to. She's like, nah, bro, I got this. I did this to myself. And she's like, hey, I will be over here. Have fun, you do. At the end of this party, I'm glossing over a lot here because literally at this point onward until the end of the fucking book, it's just smut. He's just punishing the fuck out of her. She's digging it, and it's just BDSM. It's a random fucking scenario from BDSM. That's all I'm gonna say. Because, like, I don't want to get fucking reported on this channel because why the fuck? Why would I? You know what I'm saying? So that's the prequel. The Losers Duet is part of the series. I won't lie. I heard this from not Bestie Mariana. I'm so sorry. I can't remember your name. Anyways, I heard this from a YouTuber and I can't fucking remember her name. I'm so sorry. I literally have her face in my mind. It's one of the three. There's Mariana, there's Yana, and there's Larry. There we go. Bestie Larry. She read this duology and she gagged over it. She's like, yes, this is exactly what I needed. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah. So we basically have a fully wholesome but not like polyamorous relationship between one girl and four guys. Yeah. All holes are filled. Everyone's fucking everybody at the same time. We got a whole gay relationship in there with two guys, but they're also like fucking the other guys and they're also fucking her. It's like it's very much like yeah. It's very, very graphic and dramatic. And I won't lie, I'm so glad that my phone has a privacy screen on it because at work, even if I'm reading this in the break room on my own free time, not safe for work, I'm not gonna lie. So moving on. Oh, by the way, Infinity Stars, absolutely. Yes, I will read this. Also, I kind of needed a break at this point, if you can believe it, from like all of the shenanigans, if you will, from the adult stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So I picked up Coffeeshop in an alternate universe. This is my not take. This was my attempt to move on a little bit, not move on, but what the fuck am I talking about? This is my attempt to pick up a Goodreads giveaway winner. Why the fuck can't I talk today? Oh my gosh. I tend to set an alarm for 12 o'clock in the morning every night. I'm crazy, I know, because Goodreads has a giveaway section. I've mentioned this before on my channel. It's just whatever. I just do this because I want free shit, and of course, I'm going to try to read my free shit when I can. So this was one of those situations where, hey, I haven't read this book and it's already come out already. I need to pick up this fucking book. So I did. Coffeeshop in an alternate universe. It's so cute. I won't lie. I don't read a whole lot of sapphic romance. This is a very, very, very wholesome lesbian romance where this girl who's like trying to win scholarships for her for like any university that will take her is trying to submit these scholarships by the deadline. She got a little sidetracked, as any girly pop does, and so she all of a sudden, like, the power goes out in her house. She doesn't have any Wi-Fi access. She's like, bro, I need to submit this fucking scholarship. Like, I'm not, what, this is crazy. This is like cat 5 hurricane level, like, you know, drama, whatever the fuck, right? So she goes to this coffee shop. They're able to get She's able to get everything submitted, but she ends up coming back to have like a coffee called like a pick me up from this coffee shop. And the bartender, the barista, not the bartender, the barista. Oh, this girly poppy so cute. She got the FMC's attentions, and they have like the most awesome conversation. They like exchange numbers. Neither of them know that they are not from each other's world. So like there's a couple of strange things that happen where it's like, bro, don't you know this is normal? And the other person's like, no, what the fuck? I've never had it happen before. Blah, blah, blah. So they exchange phone numbers, and so she FMC ends up leaving. I won't lie. I want to say that the names are Maya and Kat. I know one of them's name is Kat. I forgot the other person's name, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. So one of the FMCs end up leaving. A couple of they end up having like a date scheduled for a specific day, and she's like, they're both texting each other, being like, hey, like, are we still up for it? Good morning. How you been? Why aren't you answering my texts? Like, my calls aren't going through. What's going on? And so they end up standing each other up. And so she's like, all right, that sucked, I guess. Let's like pull up to Target because I need to do a grocery run for my mom's. And so she does. Again, ends up accidentally crossing the line into the alternate universe, pops up accidentally into runs into rather the other FMC, the girlfriend that becomes the girlfriend later on in the book. And so they end up talking, and so something happens and they end up finding out like what the fuck's going on. And so the story just goes from there. I'm not gonna lie, I won't say anything else because you just need to read it. It's literally so fucking cute. The little dragon up in this book, the cat, yeah, the besties, the friends groups, yeah, I loved it. I fucking loved it. It was awesome. I want to say 4.75 stars. Not a full 5 star, but like it was cute. I loved it. And of Avenue A. This was another Goodreads giveaway book that I had gotten from Goodreads, obviously. I'm not quite sure when it comes out this year, but I'll have it linked up here. Yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked for a second. We're essentially following like a millionaire's daughter who, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me like rewind a little bit. This starts 8 years prior. This is like a time gap romance, as in like they spend 8 years apart, they break up and spend 8 years apart, and then they end up like getting back together. Second chance, cute as fuck. Sorry, I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about, right? So we're following the billionaire's daughter. She currently has a boyfriend, and they're at this party, and she's not quite sure how to tell this guy that she wants to go to a university in New York. She's like, I'm just, still dealing with it. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna get in yet. I just got my acceptance letter like yesterday, so like I'm just, trying to figure out how to tell him. I guess it's also either Christmas, New Year's, or her birthday, whatever. She's getting a gift, right? So the guy comes over and gives her the gift, and apparently it's a one-way ticket to Buenos Aires, I want to say, or Brazil. Like it's South America, and it's like a university in South America. And she's like, what is this? And he's like, I thought we could go together. I know you're not sure where you want to go, what you want to do in life, but like, I'm here, right? And she's very much a planner. She knows exactly like what she wants to do, where she wants to go, but she's not quite sure on some of the logistics. So she's still kind of like in limbo, right? But he's like, hey, I'll like give you some time to figure that shit out while I'm doing my own stuff in, let's just say Buenos Aires, right? I'm probably not correct on what like the location of this, what this is, but like he's gonna go to his own university and blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And so she basically like you're like taking a big fucking leap of faith. Like we don't even know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to work out, yada, yada. And so basically they end up breaking stuff off. And then it pans to 8 years later. And so he ends up getting the MMC ends up getting super super famous, super rich, not famous but like super rich. He ends up selling his company. He's very well off, and so he ends up coming back to New York to buy his own place, like officially, right? He ends up unknowingly buying her the FMC's father's apartment because her father can't fucking keep his money in his wallet and spent all the fucking money and can't pay the bills, and so essentially they had to sell the apartment. The girl, the FMC, is living a couple of apartment levels down with another, like, you know, a neighbor that was like, hey, like, you can stay and crash at my place for like a month while you like figure out where the fuck to live and whatever. So they end up running into her. They end up running into each other, and it goes from there. I will say they do figure stuff out. There's a couple of things that it's like, it is a little bit like maturity levels are fluctuating, like past and forward, past and future, like emotions are coming to the surface in a very childish way, but they do figure that shit out. I will say I'll give it a solid like 4 star. I will read it again one day. Maybe not like right now or tomorrow or this year, but like I would pick that book up again today. This in my lifetime. There we go. Yeah, I want to say it was a 4 star. That is indeed though all the books that I read in the month of January. You want to know how many books I read in the month of January? Girl, I read 15 books. If I freaking average 12 to 15 books a month this year, that will be crazy. That will actually fucking be insane. But yeah, I had a solid reading month this month. Like I said, I'm going into 2026 with intention. I know a lot of people ever say that, but I mean specifically like with my reading material, I want to have fun this year. I want to do fun rereads. I want to do rereads of books that I like read last year whose next book is coming out this year or has already come out. I know that the A Theory in Dreaming and Study in Drowning came out, so I'm planning to do a reread of Study in Drowning to read A Theory in Dreaming. Hunger Games I'll be reading this year for the first time. A Ballad of Falling Dragons, which is the second book to the Wenda Moon Hatch, is coming out this year. So it's like I want to go into 26 with like intention of like knowing that I will enjoy or at least kind of like these reads, because I had such an emotional, as far as like hating, liking, and loving books last year, and an emotional roller coaster is what I was trying to say. And there were only, out of like the 100 and something books that I read, I want to say maybe 30% of those books were 5 stars, which is like still kind of crazy because if I can find 35 stars or less, or like, you know, the 4 to 5 star range, that's great. But there were a lot of books that I was like, they weren't the best reads, but like I read that. I don't know why I did that to myself, but like I read that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I want to have fun this year is what I'm trying to say, because I am graduating in December. I'm already gonna be stressed with like a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, and I just want to be able to have my reading time, which is my best time. The time set aside for me is what I'm trying to say, throughout the day, to myself, and I want to enjoy that time. I don't want to just like feel like my reading time is now a chore because I dedicated myself to reading this book. Obviously, I am trying to read the book. I don't really do a whole lot of DNFs. I've only done a couple of DNFs because those books were absolutely atrocious, and you guys already know what I'm talking about if you've listened to any of my other videos. But with that all being said, I had a solid reading month. Let me know how your guys' reading month went. Put it down in the comments. It is officially February. It's February 7th. There were 7 days until there's 7 days until Valentine's Day. I will be working, but what are you guys going to be doing on Valentine's Day? Put it down in the comments below. Put down any books that you've read this month. If you've read any of these books, go ahead and put that down below. Like, I don't know, just talk to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying at this point, but that is it for this video, guys. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when I upload a brand new video, which is like usually every Saturday if I'm not procrastinating or shit stuff gets in the way. But I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna go do some other stuff, and I will see you guys next week, hopefully, for a brand new video. Bye, guys.